Hello, everybody, and welcome to another installment of the Vintage series, where I go through meta decks. I do a deck tech, and I run them through a league, explaining my moves, and finally I have a review at the end of what I thought of the deck and if improvements should be made, etc. Today we'll be looking at a deck that has been always from the start in Vintage. It's called Golos Stax. This deck leverages Mishra's Workshop, so it's a shop deck, a mana that produces a land that produces 3 mana on tapping, but can only be used to cast artifact spells. Traditionally, this deck is a controlling deck where you're trying to disrupt the opponent's plan. It's not like a hybrid aggro version, which I also played a couple of sessions ago of the Tour of Vintage series, where we went to Ravager's shops. Here, you're trying to really deploy your disruptive pieces, like Phyrexian Revoker, your spheres, Trinisphere, etc., Chalice of the Void, in order to really slow down the opponent, and then you're able to completely lock him out of the game and deploy your threats, which in this case are either Phyrexian Revokers, 2/1s, Stonecoil Serpents, a big Stonecoil Serpent, Lodestone Golem, which also doubles as another Stax piece, another sphere, or your Golos Tireless Pilgrims, attacking as 3/5, and finally the recent inclusion of Urza's Saga made it so that the deck has another attack vector that might be difficult to deal with. Urza's Saga is actually pretty strong in this deck. Right now, it's able to either tutor up one of the fast mana pieces, such as Soul Ring, Mana Crypt, Black Lotus. We even include 2 main deck hate pieces in Relic of Progenitus and Pithing Needle. And suddenly Urza's Saga becomes not only a land that can deploy threats, but can also find the pieces to slow down your opponent, or even the pieces that you need to deploy your game. Then, as the other basically lands, I already talked about Mishra's Workshop. That's kind of these decks are also called shops decks. Is the other namesake land of the deck. We have also Ancient Tomb as a way to generate extra mana for only 1 land at the expense of life. The sequencing of these lands is often interesting. Should I deploy a tomb or a shop? And it actually depends on what you have in hand and how you plan to go your game. Finally, Tolarian Academy helps out with creating big Stonecoil Serpents. It helps to pay for all sorts of spheres that you might have deployed. And of course, we have the Wasteland package with Wastelands and Strip Mine. We have the Ghost Quarter that is actually quite effective against the Mirror and against Bazaar decks, for example. So 4 full copies of Ghost Quarters. It might also slow down the more color-heavy decks. Since we are in the lands, I might just introduce a few more while we're at it. So, as part of the toolbox, I'm going to talk about Golos in a little bit. We have Tabernacle, Caracas, and Inventor's Fair to be tutored up. If you play a Golos Tireless Pilgrim, basically, is able to find a land card in your deck and put it into play. So playing a golems for 5. You can see you can play it as early as turn 2, just by having a Mishra's Workshop and an Ancient Tomb. You can play your Golos, and then you're able to tutor up. Usually you would, by default, you would just tutor up Urza Saga, but there is a combo with Golos and Caracas, for example, where you can play Golos, get Caracas. You can protect your Golos from removal because you're able to return it to your own hand. You're able to attack, for example, with Golos, bring it up to your hand, play Golos again, then find another utility land. And this could also be, for example, Inventor's Fair, that not only gains you incidental life if you control 3 or more artifacts, but is also able to tutor up for any of the pieces you need in order to disrupt the opponent. Inventor's Fair is usually quite interesting, on especially post-sideboard games, because it's able to get you, for example, bridges, etc., to stop the opponent, or even the God Pharaoh's statue, which will completely lock the opponent out of the game. And then finally we have Tabernacle, which might be interesting to stop creature-heavy decks. So, yeah, and then we can talk a little bit about the spheres, which is the stacks aspect of the game. By the way, stacks come from the old version of this deck that actually included Smokestack. Newer versions do not play it anymore, but Smokestack was able to basically slow down the opponent because they had to tap their lands, and while you had a lot of artifacts to be tapped. We have the basic set of 4 Spear of Resistance that makes spells more expensive to cast. We have a Thorn of Amethyst for non-creature spells, also main deck, as also a tutorable source of Graveyard Hate. Then we're also able to achieve a sort of lock by playing Crucible with Wasteland or any of the other land removal, or even Crucible with Urza Saga, just by tutoring up all our artifacts and making huge constructs. Our 7th sphere, in a way, Lodestone Golem, that also comes as a 5/3, very powerful threat that also makes non-artifact spells more expensive. In our side, it's only Card Integrated Creator that becomes more expensive for us, so it's not really a huge penalty. Since we're discussing Karn, we have here as a symmetrical hate against artifact pieces from our opponent, usually game over against opposing Stax decks, quite difficult to work with against PO, etc. Is also able to tutor up whatever we need from the sideboard, being it Cages or Relic of Progenitus, Ensnaring Bridge, or even the Lattice Lock that just wins you the game on the spot. Yeah. And finally we have a few, I would say, more flex spots, which are the inclusion of Mystic Forge and the God Pharaoh's statue. So Mystic Forge is able to give you some additional reach, especially when this deck has really no card draw, except for if you're able to get a Golos going with the Caracas, or if you get some Urza Saga, Crucible of Worlds engine going. So Mystic Forge is able to give you that extra reach in order to keep you playing cards off the top of your deck. And finally you have God Pharaoh's statue. I included here since this deck was the second place in a recent challenge. It used it, but it might be a win more card in this situation, so you might want to cut it out if you need to. It's important to refer as well, so many decks do not play Stone Coil Serpent, and they might include the other card that makes constructs, for example. They might go to a few more Phyrexian Revokers main deck, etc, etc. So there's a few builds around. You should experiment if you're interested. I'm going to take this one for a spin. We can talk a little bit about the sideboard. So from our side, we have obviously the sideboard against Dredge and Bazaar decks. So targeting the graveyard, I guess this should also be included there, albeit in a different way. So this deck is obviously trying to play the long game and lock the opponent out of playing their own game. So it's obviously interested in stalling the opponent as long as possible, and this pack is basically here for that. I think this is a pretty standard pack. Since we're playing Karn, the Great Creator, it's important to have some powerful, durable targets that can get you out of difficult situations in a pinch. For example, in Sorry Bitch is able to basically prevent the opponent from attacking you while you set up your game, and then you're able to, for example, tutor up some Tabernacles, destroy opponent's lands. The opponent no longer has the ability to play for their creatures die. Yeah, and then you're able to use, for example, Karn the Great Creator to transform one of your 1 mana artifacts or 2 mana artifacts and attack with a live bridge. We can use the bridge itself for attacking once you have 3 cards in hand. Or you're able to just get the God Pharaoh statue and kill the opponent that way, basically, once you achieve the lock. We have obviously the Mycosynth Lattice that we already discussed, that is able to just lock the opponent out of the game with a Karn, if you have enough mana to pay for it. So 10 mana and a Karn makes the opponent out of the game. We have Walking Ballista, also too durable to get you out of sticky situations. And finally, Null Rod if you need to stop any opposing artifact shenanigans. We have Archive Trap as sideboard against Doomsday, which is usually a problematic deck to play against. Null Rod against PO is also quite a good sideboard card because it often stops their game on the spot. Being unable to tap their artifacts for the extra mana stops them from comboing off. From our side, Null Rod stops our mana artifacts usually, but it's not a big deal because we can we have powerful lands to pay for our spells. Yeah, that was it. Let's take this deck for a spin and see how it goes. Here we are for round 1 of a Third Vintage featuring Golos Stax. So this hand has a turn 1 Lodestone Golem. So I can do a turn 1 Lodestone Golem using the Black Lotus. I have no idea what my opponent is playing, but other than that I have not much going on. Might be okay. I have a Tabernacle, I have a Golos. I have not much more going on for me though. Either way, it's a very powerful first turn play with a Lodestone Golem. So I can lead with the Inventor's Fair, Black Lotus, Lodestone Golem. Okay, so my opponent kept 7. Let's lead the Inventor's Flare, Black Lotus. Seems that they are fast forwarding, have 6ing. So I think this was a good, it's a Bazaar deck, sure. So that Tabernacle is going to come in handy. They have a hollow one, 2 hollow ones, okay. I'm tempted just to Ghost Quarter the Bazaar now, so that they cannot start dredging, and then get a Tabernacle down turn after. Ghost Quarter, get rid of the Bazaar, pass the turn. Blockers, I have a Soul Ring, it's quite nice, so can jam the Soul Ring. So opponent has a bridge, unfortunately, an Ichorid. I do not need the sphere down, even though the sphere will give me 1 a turn. Let me think a little bit. So we have bridge. Opponent will keep making at least zombies. I think it's safe to attack now, right? Let's attack. When can I put the Golos down? That's the question. 1, 2, 3. If I do a sphere, my Golos will be harder to put down. Yeah. So now I have a bridge. I'll drop a Tabernacle, and safe to drop the sphere here. So the sphere will give me 1 a turn. So opponent will probably stack Ichorid so it comes after the triggers. Now we'll lose these, but put 3 zombies in play. Oh, they put Ichorid first. Okay, that was Dredger still. So we'll be good with 5. I have a Stone Coil Serpent, which is nice. So opponent will keep hitting me for 3. I need another land to play that Serpent, I think. Opponent's not on Dredge. So another land will put a Serpent for 4. Ichorid, Narcomoebia, that's good. So 3, 5, 6, I can do a Golos now. Can do a Golos. Golos can get me Urza's Saga now, I think. Saga is the best at this point, although the Mishra's Workshop, maybe Tolarian Academy, like that. So it's Saga, even though it starts putting creatures in play, I have to pay a penalty with the Tabernacle. So opponent now will make 2 zombie tokens. Ichorid is not going to help much now, since I can block with Golos. I have a Caracas to bounce my Golos and to get lands. So now is the time that so I'm gonna play for that with a Soul Ring. Soul Ring, okay. Got a Mock Sapphire, which costs 1 more though. But now I need to get Urza's Saga, get rid of the bridges. So let's play this Mox like that. We can add 5. Can bounce low Golos, play Golos. Also have the Inventor's Fair if needed. I'll start getting the Urza's Saga down. Okay. So opponent is now putting 2 zombie tokens per Ichorid. Still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 5 dredgers. So we played our game. I'm definitely bringing the 2 Tabernacles, the Grafdigger's Cage, 2 Relics, and a Sorcerer's Spygrass. Can remove Chalice, can remove the statue, and Mystic Forge, and I think most spheres, right? Sorcerers are good against Bazaar, so it's Beating Needle here. I have the 3 relics and the Grafdigger's Cage, plus Tabernacle, right? That's the pack I need. I wonder if Karn plus Bridge. I think I'm gonna drop down 3 spheres. The Thorn is actually more effective against my opponent, has pitch spells, so I'll keep this. Okay, so this hand is very interesting because I can power a Sorcerer's Spyglass turn 1. Even if the opponent has Force of Vigor, I'm able to come back from it. And then I also have a Mox Jet, so 3 mana for 5 mana. Still takes me 3 turns to get to Golos. But 2 Sorcerer Spyglass plus an Urza Saga. I think it's okay. I can also lead... No, I can lead with Urza Saga Mox Jet just to advance the Saga. And then I'm actually able to next turn make a construct. But this exposes both the Saga and the Sorcerer Spyglass to Force of Vigor. So I'm tempted to just go Ancient Tomb Spyglass for now. Do not deploy Mox Jet. There's no second target for Force of Vigor. So opponent does Bazaar. Unfortunately, I can't just see their hand before I actually put the Sorcerer Spyglass. So we have 1 Dredger and 1 Icrit. I think that's fine. Let's hope that there's no more Dredgers coming down. So opponent has a Force of Vigor. So this is the right play. So I'm not putting down the Mox Jet. I'm hoping the opponent now... Yeah, they Force of Vigor with a Shambling Shell. And let's see what they dredge. They dredged, unfortunately, a lot of things, including a Cabal Therapy and the Bridge from Below. This was a very good dredge from my opponent. If I should have led with a Ghost Quarter, probably that would have been the best. So we Golos, and now puts down a Hogak. I think this is a lost game. Unless I draw Tabernacle here, there's not much I can do. Yeah, Tabernacle would be my out. I got a Crucible. Okay, let's concede. So in hindsight, I missed the Ghost Quarter play. That would have been the best play to have done. Okay, let's go for round number 3. So once again, we have Sorcerer Spyglass start, which I think that's what's going to be. We have Wasteland and Ghost Quarter. Yeah, this is a keepable hand. So even if opponent puts down Force of Vigor, I'm still able to deploy a second Spyglass, and I will have a free Ghost Quarter to get rid of the Bazaar, turn 1. So opponent is mulligan to 2 cards. So this is a very good start for me, obviously. Opponent kept 2 cards in hand. Ghost Quarter, Jet, Spyglass. Okay. Sword. Bazaar. Baghdad. Now opponent has to naturally draw a Force of Vigor and a green card. Okay. That was it. Here we are for the second match of the Tour of Vintage featuring Golos Stax. We're paired up against Heart Attack Muffin. We have pretty decent start. I mean, I can put down Soul Ring, Revoker, or Thorn of Amethyst. Actually, Ancient Tomb, Soul Ring, that's only 3 mana. So I can just lead with the Ghost Quarter, Soul Ring, Thorn of Amethyst. And that will slow down. Or if I play Ancient Tomb, Soul Ring, they only have 6 mana available next turn. So there's no actual point in start taking damage with the Ancient Tomb. And the Soul Ring will take care of most of the things I want to do. So one could lead with Ancient Tomb or Ghost Quarter. This is what I'm thinking about now. But I can save myself 2 points of damage and just drop down Soul Ring and Thorn of Amethyst now. Deploying 2 tombs, so the turn after I'll be taking 2 damage now, plus 4, 6 damage. It might be too much. I don't know what my opponent is playing with. So I'll leave Ghost Quarter, Soul Ring, Thorn, and pass. Okay. Peers are on Bug. We did get a Mishra's Workshop though. 3, 4, 5. I can... Several options here. I wish I had led with Ancient Tomb because I could put both the Phyrexian Revoker and Golos on 1 turn. But I think now just Ghost Quarter and Phyrexian Revoke. I'm thinking. So this will put opponent out of mana No, but now I can deploy a Golos without problem. So I might actually do that. But opponent is able to then deploy a Tarmogoyf. So if I play the Golos now and fetch an Urza Saga, I'm considering that play instead of... no, you know what? I think the best is drop down the tomb, play a Revoker, naming Deathrite Shaman there, and then Ghost Quarter now. Okay. Outland Liberator. Okay. This was extremely interesting. What does it do? Okay. I cannot let this go. Nightbound, that's for sure. Well, let's just deploy Golos now. What my opponent is thinking here. Tabernacle is going to do a lot here. So now it's day, so my opponent hasn't done much. So now that Frenzied Trap Breaker is active, I have no way of transforming back to night, unfortunately. I can attack with the Golos. I can just put down the Wasteland and then do Mox Ruby the turn after. So opponent get rid of that. Dance. Oof. Oof, oof, oof. Yeah, I think that against this start, there's not much I can do here, right? Alright, let's move on to the next. So we're playing against Bug. Fond main deck. Hate. I don't think there's much I'm going to change. Relic for a Ballista. But my opponent had all the answers they needed against me. So I'm thinking, would it have helped if I had deployed Golos one turn earlier? That is the question. Not completely sure at this point without looking back. So we have a turn 1 Thorn, Strip Mine back. So if the opponent plays a Deathrite Shaman, I really have nothing. I have to mulligan this hand. So here we have a Pithing Needle, Tolarian Academy, and the shot. Fine. I have the Ancient Tomb for the turn after, the Urza Saga. I can Pithing Needle Deathrite Shaman from the get-go. And then I'll have Tolarian Academy for the Godfather's statue. The question is, what do I drop? Mishra's or 1? Can do a turn 3 Godpharaoh's statue, right? And drop the Ballista. This hand is very vulnerable to Force of Vigor. I'm probably gonna be punished by a Force of Vigor. Yeah, no Force of Vigor. Nice. Lotus. Start. Okay. Nothing to get rid of that Trigon Predator now. Okay. Well, okay. That is why. Oh, okay. I can't get out of this now. Trigon Predator. Too much artifact. Is there any way I can get out of this? I don't think so. Activated ability. Nope. Let's move on. Okay. We're back for match number 3 of a tour vintage featuring Golos Stax. This hand unfortunately doesn't do anything. This hand is better. I have Urza Saga. I can deploy a Crucible. I can do a turn 1 Sorcerer's Spyglass. So I'm going to just drop the Golem and see what the opponent is playing. Seagate Reborn. I have zero idea of what my opponent is playing. So Urza Saga, Mox Jet, though this might be an Oops All Spells. Oops All Spells, in that case the Relic is good to have. Opponent does Ancestral, okay. And Forces, taking away Pack of Negation. Yeah, so this is Oops All Spells. So my Relic of Protagonist is going to be quite useful. Or, yeah, here it goes. That was a very powerful start, huh? Very good. Graph Diggers, Relic, and Archive Traps. I'm going to take away Statue. The Revoker's actually okay. Pithing Needle is as well. I don't need the Mystic. I tend to just cut out Crucible. Not really going the long game. Yeah, I think this is fine. I have to slow down opponent enough. Deploy User Saga. Takes 3 turns, it's too long. Pithing Needle. Hard Belcher or Balustrade Spy. That would be naming. So now it's interesting to see what the opponent would have. So that Cersei Spyglass would have stopped the opponent on his tracks. That's for sure. I'd like to start. I kept the Tabernacle in. Relic doesn't stop Charbelcher. So I'm just gonna mulligan this. Okay, a little bit better. I have Urza Saga. Strip Mine. Let's do this. Saga. Now I have to see what exactly I'm naming with Revoker. If it comes in. I'm tempted to do a Chrome Mox. Play the best bet or stop the Balustrade Spy. Sure. Not Balustrade Spy. Undercity Informer, right? So I need to stop the fast mana. Let's just name Black Lotus now. I'm sure this is going to be enough. I should have been more aggressive with hate cards. So, yeah, Balustrade Spy goes against, or goes over it. So does Undercity Informer. So I ordered to stop a very fast start from Black Lotus, turn 1. Okay, seems to have... Okay, I have an Archive Trap. Opponent every search for something. Not completely sure. Can keep the opponent out of mana, though, with a Strip Mine. So, search their library. Really thought about this, but Archive Track might not be enough here. What are they searching for? Tutor? Sure. Reveals until she reveals. Okay, that's the Undercity Informer. Is also reveals, so there's no searching for the tutors. So this actually doesn't do much here. Archive Trap. So unless my opponent plays a tutor, I have no targets with the trap. Graph Digger's Cage at least, with Urza Saga, right? Relic of Progenitus. I don't know what they have in play, so the Pithing Needle will only help me against 1 of their 3 win conditions. Undercity Informer will stop a combo play. No, sorry. Relic of Progenitus, I think that's the best. Or Graph Digger's Cage. Yeah, Graph Digger's Cage. No. Larian Academy. I play kept 5 mana for the Craft Tap. That's fine. So the Cage will stop the combo with the Dread Return. Will also stop the Narcomuses from coming in play. Okay. If Null Rod is actually a good inclusion here. Instead of Archive Traps, which will not help me here, right? And then bring back another Spyglass. Chalice. Chalice for 1. Chalice for 0. Chalice is interesting. Chalice for 2. No, also only works against the hardcast Thassa's Oracle. Yeah, the Chalice should have been taken out. So unless I'm mistaken, I cannot use Archive Traps against Upso spells. But if any of you guys would like to leave a comment about how to better sideboard against Upso spells, please do so. Okay, opponent begins with 7 cards in hand. I have an interesting hand, right? So I can play 2 2-mana spells. I mean, I can do Sorcerer's Spyglass and then Sphere of an Ancient Tomb Soul Ring, that's 3 mana plus Mox Sapphire, right? Or actually Mox Sapphire, Soul Ring, Tolarian Academy. Yeah. Might be enough to disrupt the opponent. There it goes. Nothing I can do. Turn 1 kill. Sure. Opponent. There's a Tinker. What? Opponent forgot to bring in the Dread return. Okay, I'll take that one. Okay, this is match 4 of a Tour Vintage featuring Golos Stax. Currently 2-1. Okay, so I have a lot of mana. I have a Tabernacle. And then Urza Saga. I feel that this is way too slow for doing anything at all. This, on the other hand, has a turn 1 big serpent. So I'm dropping the workshop or the tomb. So lead with Saga, Crypt, Jet, Lotus, Serpent. A lot of eggs in one basket. Why not? So that's 3, 6, 7, 7. Play a Serpent for 7 and pass the turn. So I got nothing. Opponent. Okay, opponent got nothing either. So now I have no idea what the opponent is playing. So no counters. Yeah. So this is fine, right? Can lead with a Saga. Relic, I have a Mox Jet, Learn Academy, I can get Golos going. So I got a lot of things going for me. No stacks. Okay, planes. Alright. Sure. Fine with that. I'm fine with that. Saga. So this makes it so that can't search libraries. Okay. Is not. I can do it to Learn Academy. I can do a Mana Crypt, and so I put a construct, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Can't do a Golos. Oh, I can't search libraries with a Golos, never mind. So I can just wait with a Saga. Search another. Yeah, sure. Really aggressive. Not much happening. Will I trade? Yeah, I'll trade. If they attack with the Arbiter, I just do Golos. Another Saga, and keep the constructs coming. Think about how much mana can I make. Okay, seems opponent has quit. Here we are for the last round of a Tour Vintage featuring Golos Stax. So we have 2 Sagas here, Crucible and the Chalice. I think this might be okay, even though I have no. Be nice with a Wasteland or similar. The Saga might be enough against the Fair deck, for example. The Chalice might stop combo. I'll be tempted to keep and see how this goes. My opponent starts with 6 cards in the hand and a Gitaxian Probe. Okay? This could be anything from Doomsday. Probably Doomsday. There's a Trina Sphere here now, though. Which might be interesting to try to play. So that went through. I have a Sphere. Sphere is interesting, right? Definitely dropping the Saga. And then, does it pay off? 1? Possible. And then, I just pass. I have to drop the Tolarian. So my opponent was on a, I would say, with a Flooded Strand, leading on Island, Gitaxian Probe. It's probably on Jeskai, I think. So on Jeskai, I think Null Rods might be interesting. Graphic Cage stops Tinker. I don't know if they're on a PO plan. Because right now I don't know if they're on a PO plan or on a more fair plan. So if they're on the more fair plan, they would have Dak Fadens. Either version plays Tinker. So I'm definitely bringing in Grafdigger's Cage. I haven't seen any. I don't know if they have Arcanus or not. So it might be okay that I just do this. So bring in the cage instead of the Relic of Progenesis to stop Tinker. I still want Chalice. I think I don't know enough of the deck to make any more changes. So right now this is what I'm gonna jam. So this is a good start. I can actually play a Spyglass, a Nurse's Saga, and a Thorn of Amethyst turn 1. Might even delay putting the Urza's Saga down. So Underground Sea, Mox Ruby, Mana Crypt. So they're on PO. Get a chance to see what they do. Both Thorn and Sorcerer's Spyglass actually penalize them a little bit. Karn. Yeah, so I have 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. So Karn is quite good, but I need to be able to bait a counterspell. I don't want to lose my Karn. So I'm going to leave with Mana Crypt. I'll play a Ruby. Play around Daze. One would have a Daze. But I'll stop at least the top from spinning. Ooh, my opponent has Tinker. Okay. So that's fine, because I can play a Wasteland and get my opponent out of blue. Right, so my opponent is not able to deploy Tinker. And then, still not enough. I would need the shops in order to deploy Thorn plus Karn. Okay, but for now, at least we have to Wasteland, right? So I'm just gonna name top. And then I'm gonna Wasteland. I guess the opponent only drew Tinker after. Okay. Nothing I could do there. Oh, we have, let's see, a Golos. I don't think I want to deploy the Golos already. I might just jam Thorn and or the Saga. Thorn is not really good though for me, is it? I guess I'll try to do a Golos now. Maybe bait out that Urkel's out of my opponent's hand. Yeah. Opponent kept Urkel's. Okay. So that's an artifact. Here, what can I do here? Karn. Then I will see what I have going on here. Ensnaring Bridge. I guess Ensnaring Bridge. I don't like it though. I can't really put any of the thorns either, so I'll just put a bridge in my hand. Card and place. Merchant Scroll, okay. Ancestral. Up. So I don't need to deploy my Spyglass now. Key. Yeah. I guess this is my land for the turn. And the Mox Ruby. And I can deploy a bridge. Spyglass. And I have to put the Mana Crypt down. So I'm thinking Ensnaring Bridge. Do I need to name the Manifold Key? This is probably the wrong sequence, right? I should have checked this hand first. That takes care of the Sphinx. But Mana Crypt's gonna kill me though. 2, 3, yeah. I can do one activation of the tomb safely, I think. It's hand. Another Hercule's Recall. Can't really beat this, right? Alright, let's just go for the next one. 2 Hercules was a bit too difficult. So I'm bringing in Null Rods, that's for sure. This is more interesting. Spyglass doesn't really hit anything that is not mana. Let me see, what else do we have here that is not needed? This stops cage. That's it. So Saga, Crypt, Black Lotus, Strip Mine, and a Karn. This is a pretty interesting start. I can just Black Lotus now, right? Saga, Pearl, Lotus. Pana had the force, exiling Hercules. That's fine. Crypt at least. I can strip mine the island. So this will protect me a little bit against Tinker, because I can fetch now. There's a Saga, a Grafdigger's Cage. Get a construct now. That was a very bad draw. Top. So now to get a Tinker down, they would have to Hercules Recall first. I think cage here, back with a construct. Hercules Recall is gonna be a little bit backbreaking, okay? Opponent had nothing going on. Here, here's nice. You have a counter, yes, exiling PO. That's what I like to see. Opponent needs to really so if my opponent draws no, that was it. That was the 4-0. We can go for a little tour of the deck now. Okay, so that was a clean 4-1. I think I was fairly lucky with the matchups I got, apart from my second opponent playing a bug with this new card from Midnight Hunt that is Artifact Hate main deck. Then the other games felt very much one-sided, I believe. We had luck, I guess, the Oops Allspell opponent that forgot his win condition in the sideboard. Other than that, I think that once again Urza Saga brought a breath of fresh air into Golos Stax, because it gives it another axis of attack that it didn't have before. So this deck used to be incredibly draw dependent, and we saw some of it last match that I had 3 lands in hand, or 3 spheres in play when it didn't really matter. We never really got to do well. We did a 3 sphere start that really won, but we never got really stacked these spheres together, and that's really annoying also. We never executed our Crucible of Worlds lock, either from the Wasteland side or to get the Saga batting to play. God Pharaoh's statue, never got to play it either. So it's hard to evaluate how that would work. I still feel that maybe this card should be dropped for something else in this package. Golos is a very strong 5 mana, can come down turn 2 or 3. It's a 3/5, tutors up all the required lands. Of course, we had also luck against our Dredge opponent by having a Tabernacle in our opening hand. And on game 2, we basically were able to stop the opponent from going. So we haven't really used Archive Trap to its full potential. Doomsday is usually an auto loss, but the inclusion of Archive Trap makes it a bit easier. I wonder if I prefer Mindbreak Trap, although our Doomsday opponent can play around it, basically. So it's a little bit of a gamble which ones you take. More interesting things that I should think of. Yeah, 2 Revoker, 2 Sorcerers main felt quite natural. They always had targets to hit. Sorcerers have the advantage of actually seeing what the opponent is playing with. That has been great. Karn is a most kill in most of the matchups anyway. And the 3 Stonecall Serpents actually give a little bit more reach to this deck versus the versions that do not run them. So off the sideboard, I'm not entirely sure what Ballista is doing here. I guess an alternate win condition when you can't attack over Ensnaring Bridge. That would be my thought. Yeah, now that I think of it, that's exactly why it's there. So it seems to be a very well constructed deck, and I would definitely recommend it now at this point in the meta. Thank you so much for watching this Toured Vintage, and I hope that you'll subscribe and continue to watch the videos that I will be publishing. Thank you very much.